Yo, 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 welcome back to the Speakeasy Sports Broadcast. It's your boy, A-Rogey, and today we're going to be discussing a little bit of Detroit Pistons versus Atlanta Hawks. We're going to do a little pregame show, answer any questions you guys got. So, yeah, we live, yo. What's up? What you guys got to say? We got Kyle Webb in the comments already. What's up, Kyle Webb? How you doing? Welcome to the show. Appreciate you guys stopping by. So let's see. Let's take a look at. I think we got some key inactives today. I know Derrick Rose and Blake Griffin aren't going to be playing, so that's some key inactives on the Detroit side of the ball. We got some other. So I know Clint Capella was a kind of like a game time decision. So we'll see if he plays. I think if he does play, it's going to be limited minutes. I seen a post about probably only about 20 minutes if he does go. So, and if he is in the game, that's major rebounding for the Atlanta Hawks. Obviously, you have Trae Young on their team, who is a star and an excellent point guard, excellent three-point shooter, excellent ball handler, excellent distributor. So he's going to be a lot to handle. Last time we versed him in a season opener at LCA last year, he really got us, and he's only better this year. Oh yeah, more minutes for the young guys. I think that's what you said. Fire Dwayne Casey. I'm gonna put some of these comments up because you guys are already going off. But Kyle Webb, he kind of messed that comment up. But I think he's trying to say more minutes for the young guys, or is that Luke? I don't know what you tried to say there. But we got Steve-O said fire Dwayne Casey, and man. I'm not going to say like I'm 100% right there, but I do not like the way this guy calls sets. I don't think this guy is like a game-winning coach. This guy is develop young guys type coach. That's what he's been known for in the past. That's kind of why he's still around. I don't even know if he's necessarily doing the best job at it, but that is what he's known for. That is why he's still around. And no, I'm right there with you, Steve Oak. I mean, I just want a coach who comes in here, calls plays, and gets these young guys going. Look at this right here. We got my mom in the comment section. Shout out to my ma. Let me use her basement for this. What's good? What's good? Thanks for being in the comments. Oh yeah, guys, we got 5 people watching right now. What's up to the 5 people watching? How you guys doing? We're gonna get to talking. I'm just waiting for some comments to pour in. Yeah, we got some interesting matchups tonight too. It's gonna be a good game. So I'm excited to, like you guys said, Kyle Webb said in the comments, more minutes for the young guys, and that's really what this game is about tonight. Is just getting these young guys some minutes. We want like guys like I want to see Isaiah Stewart out there, and I know you guys are right there with me. I want to see the roster get as deep as Saban Lee. I want to see these young guys really come out and have a chance to shine. Obviously, I want to see Killian Hayes have a good game. He was not our first pick, but he was our first pick in the draft this year. We got someone agreeing with me in the comments, so I got to throw that up there real quick. I completely agree. Casey knows basketball, but now the advanced details to it. He needs to strictly be a development coach. That's a great take right there. I like that. Trayvon, I totally agree with that. You know what? I don't know if the Pistons like head management is just like smart enough to make a move like that. Like I think if he's gone, like he's gonna be gone. Yeah, I know. I read that and I read it back and I knew you meant not by that. But yeah, if I think like if they get rid of him, they're gonna get rid of him. Like, but this guy is a great developmental coach. Like we could keep him around, but I think with pride on Dwayne Casey's side and pride in the Pistons organizations, once we get rid of him, he's just gone. We're gonna get I don't necessarily know if we're gonna get a good coach, but we're gonna get a new one. So we are playing back-to-back games tonight and the Warriors at home tomorrow. Yes, we are. And the Warriors finally won their first game against who was that? Was that the Bulls they just beat? So seems to always happen like to the Pistons like that. Like every time we're going into a team, the team we're versing is finally getting a little bit better. So, I think the Hawks are undefeated. I know it's only 2-0, but hey, that's still undefeated. So, we got a chance to, get kind of back on track here. If I know a lot of Detroit fans don't even think that, like, I can't even tell you how many memes that are just like tanks with Detroit Pistons on them this year. So everyone's thinking we're tanking this year. But, if we win games, we win games. That's what it comes down to. If we were any better, literally any better, one lick of a hair better in that last game, we would have won it. Like, that's how close we were to winning that game. We essentially did everything we could to lose the game. Like, all we had to do was score once in the last 3 minutes of that first overtime, and we would have won the game. But we didn't want to win the game. So, we got to get that spirit back on the, or all around the team. We want to win games. We got to play hard all through the whole game, not just, through the first couple quarters, so we are a great defensive team. We got a lot of good defensive guys, long, lengthy guys, and we got to go out there and show it in the clutch time and use this long, lengthy defensive team when it really matters, The Pistons has the most back games in the first half of the season. Well, good thing we're a nice, young, healthy team, That's if you got one good thing to look forward to. I keep telling you these guys like Killian Hayes is 19 years old. Sekou's freaking 20. So, you look at these guys and they're only going to get better. They're healthy. They're young. Okay. I think Trey might join in. Come on, Trey. What you doing, son? Yeah, if you look at these guys, like I keep telling people, like Killian Hayes, think about it. I mean, great point guards are hard to come by in this league. We got one that's 19 years old. He's 6'5". I believe he's listed at like 210 pounds. He can handle the ball excellently. He's an excellent passer. He's developing. He's only going to get better. So, yeah, even if he's not the very best right now, he's going to get better. Yo, Dapper Media, come join in. What's good, boy? What's good? When I see you, I'll let you in. Let's see. We got 11 people in here now. What's good to the 11 people watching? You guys ready to watch some Detroit Pistons tonight? Let me know in the comments. We out here talking Pistons, Hawks. We answering questions in the comments. So, yeah, whatever you guys want to talk about, let's talk about it. Oh, here. I missed a couple comments, so I'll go back. Just one. Okay. Let's see. The coach cost us the game with the lineup he keep putting on the floor. Man, I was losing it, man. I was like, there's so many good guys left in this roster. We got to get deep in this roster. I swear, in the end of that game last week, it was like, give the ball to D-Rose and everyone else stand and watch D-Rose try to do something. Like, we got to let these other guys get involved and start making some off-ball movement and stuff. All right, Dapper Media, I'm about to add you to a stream.
Yo, what's up?
What's up, man? How's it going?
Pretty good. I mean, you've been watching last night's games?
Oh, yeah. Which one in particular?
I mean, I watched this, like, since I'm a Suns fan, I watched the Suns-Kings game, and I mean, I'm happy the Suns won. I think they shouldn't have lost the back-to-back, but it is what it is.
Right? I think that kind of, honestly, that is like, I'm not going to, I'm a Kool-Aid drinker, so.
No, you're good.
I always come back to the Pistons, but, it's kind of the same thing. Like, it's a great, even if you lose back-to-backs, you always got a chance to, just come back in and show the kind of team you really are. And like I think the people were so quick. I keep my ears and eyes on social media when it comes to sports, and people were so quick to shut the Suns down after that. And real fans, not even real fans, just real basketball. Say that again?
I say they keep discrediting. Oh, my God. They keep discrediting us because, like, when you look at the team, I think it was Saturday. Yeah, Saturday, we shouldn't have lost that game. But when you're looking at it defensively, they were much better. But in the next game, they came back. They made the adjustments. Eventually, just playing smart ball, a couple of their players were high on fouls. And eventually, we just took even when Booker, Ayton, and Paul were off, Bridges and Cam Johnson came in and did fairly well and, made up for that.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I totally agree. Yeah, I think you guys got a good team over there, and I enjoy watching it. And I know we're 3 games in. You know what I mean? Like, it's with Chris Paul just coming over there. It's going to take a little bit of time for continuity, to all come together. But once it does, you guys got a great looking team over there.
I mean, especially with the Pistons, you're mentioning, your people are talking about giving Casey a lot of flack because they're like, oh, he's not letting the rookies make the adjustments and kind of get the early playing minutes and getting adjusted to the league. But you're looking at a team that went up against the Cavaliers yesterday. You had Isaac Okoro, who played 42 minutes and was yet to score a bucket. LaMelo Ball, who is already being criticized for his shooting, and of the top players, a lot of them. I'm really surprised with some of the people that people didn't expect to do fairly well. Like, Tyrese Halliburton's doing pretty decently. It's just you gotta let the rookies get the time, and I think that being critical of them is very it's unreasonable.
I totally agree, and I think looking back at it and from a Pistons standpoint, these fans are so mad because we lost the games anyways. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, what does it matter that we didn't? Why didn't we play these guys and let them develop? Because now, okay, now here comes the third game, and Blake Griffin and Derrick Rose are being managed for injuries, but you didn't let these young guys get playing time. So now on the third game they're getting thrown out to the wolves. When you didn't win those first two games, these guys should have had playing time to be ready for this third game now. But now we're kind of restarting again. So when you don't give these young guys playing time, it's like every game's like a restart for them. You just got to get them in the flow of the season as early as possible. Truly, like you said with Isaac Okoro, he played 40 however minutes and didn't even score. And I bet at the end of the game he's only going to learn from that. That doesn't, you can't, they won the game. You can't walk out there and hang your head low. No, you learn from that and you move forward. And that's what we need to allow all these young guys to do, especially when we're really stricken with this feeling of like rebuilding here in Detroit,
No,
so.
most definitely. And you're looking at, the Cavaliers, they got two really good young pieces that, a lot of people gave him shit last year for drafting Darius Garland. They said, Darius Garland, what's the point of drafting? They already have Colin Sexton. But earlier into the year, we're already looking at it and people are saying this is representative of, CJ McCollum and Damian Lillard as in a much more younger duo. And while they still have a long ways to go, it's giving these people the minutes that they need to get. And also, staying flexible for the offseason. Like the Cavs are 2-0. Nobody was expecting the Cavs to come out and do as good as they are right now or just have a bit of attraction at the start of the season. But for Detroit, it's going to be critical of them to, coming from a Suns fan perspective, obviously, take this with a grain of salt. But looking at Detroit, it's going to be critical of them to show out against this lacking Warriors team. Give these young players the minutes that they definitely need to get in order to adjust to the league, and also the Hawks, who even though the Hawks have a lot of assets this season, they have a lot of really good players. It's important to since they're still kind of figuring out like Phoenix is, give them those minutes and make sure they can get these on this. Next two matchups, make the adjustments necessary because it's a back to back, and not only that it's a back to back, but it's on Dwayne Casey to make sure that the Rooks are making sure they understand that this isn't just a playing field and not criticizing them for that one mistake they might have made.
Right, and I think with a situation like this, I always kind of because I break the season down into literally probably 30 different sections, so with even a season like this, I don't think you can just look one game ahead. Like you said, we're going from the Atlanta Hawks to the Golden State Warriors, two of these which are very guard centric teams around Trae Young and Steph Curry, so the way you got to kind of look at it, and who did people often compare Trae Young to? Steph Curry. So you got to go into this Atlanta Hawks game knowing that your young guys are playing. You got to give them as much playing time as you possibly can, because this is really a practice for your next game. If you come out of this game with a win, that's just more icing on the cake. But really, you got to look at this game as a practice for this next game. Because they're two pretty similar teams, but some people might say that Curry's better than Trae Young. I think they're awfully close with the rise of Trae Young right now. But if you come out of both of these games with your rookies having really low minutes and you lose both of them, it's a lose-lose. You didn't do anything. So really, hopefully they can come out of this first game, use this first game as either whether you win or lose, just try to get back on track, have a competitive game, and get ready for that game against Golden State. So,
I mean, yeah, there's not much just to add there. You mentioned very similar play styles with Trae Young and Steph Curry. Looking at this, it wouldn't hurt for Dwayne Casey to put, Sekou Doumbouya or Killian Hayes or Svi Mykhailiuk, and I'll put them all in the lineup.
All these hard names.
Yeah, all
You
these
did good.
and yeah, I mean, just looking at the roster, because the Hawks, they have a really good shooting team this season. They brought in Bogdan Bogdanovic, they got Danilo Gallinari, Trey Young, obviously. They're bringing in a lot of good shooters. So just to put them against, put the Pistons against these, it wouldn't hurt to shoot against the or not the Pistons, but the Hawks, because going into the Warriors game, Kelly Oubre is on a shooting slump, so he's definitely not going to be shooting from long range. Wiggins isn't going to be shooting from long range. So even if you're going up against a really good shooting team, and then you're going up against a very a team that's really struggling in the shooting aspect, like from deep or like on non-dunk attempts, like Kelly Oubre is like 0-31. Like,
Yeah, I seen that. I was like, oh man, I like Kelly Oubre. I felt bad for him.
all I'm gonna say is the Kelly trade ain't looking so bad now that we got CP3 and Kelly's not doing so good.
Right? Yeah. I see. Yeah. It's so funny because I'm not even like the biggest Phoenix Suns fan, but I kind of keep up with the team. It's just an interesting team over there, and I didn't know, like, when that trade went down, I was like, ooh, Kelly Oubre. I thought that was kind of like maybe a future foundation piece for you guys,
Oh,
But then
definitely
just
not.
but to see how it kind of all planned out, I can see that that's not how it happened. But hey, there's a lot more games this season, so you can never ride too high up and
Yeah.
down. You never know what happens, but I think I think he's a pretty solid player, just going through kind of a rough patch, but you never know.
No, yeah, definitely. And then, I mean, looking at just the overall offseason this season, um, very few teams, like I think Atlanta did a really good job of building the pieces, and I think that Detroit, they should have made I think a couple more trades would have been better if they're really. I think with keeping Blake, it's kind of keeping the door open for for that bottom playoff bracket, or like that 7th or 8th seed, keeping that flexibility open. But at the end of the day, if I'm not mistaken, D Rose is coming off contract after this season, and then Blake might have a season or two, or I'm not sure if this is Blake's final season, but there were talks of Blake going to the Nuggets and Michael Porter Jr. coming to the Pistons, which would have been big for Pistons rebuilding.
Huge.
It would have been an absolute, it would have been a culture change, because you're talking about a future, you're not Hall of Famer, but like a future All Star, and
Future
coming in.
All-Star, multiple time All-Star, I'd say.
Yeah.
But that's just my opinion, so take that with a grain of salt. But that would have been an excellent pickup to get a young, healthy Michael Porter Jr. for a Blake Griffin. There is a fall off there, but the ceiling continues to grow with a Michael Porter. So that is kind of like a trade I know us Piston fans are looking for. We're trying to get like a great young player or something, and maybe a pick even for Blake. But it might not happen. It might happen, but we don't know. But I got. Sorry, I got a good.
With the picks. Oh,
sorry, I got a good comment here. I just wanted to post
No, you're
it
good.
up real quick. But it's comments from Easy. He's in the comment section right now. His kid's acting wild, so he's not on live with us, but he's in the comment section. Sorry that I'm trying. Can you see that comment? Oh, there it goes.
Oh, yeah, I
really
can.
slow. I don't know why. Okay, so what are your expectations for Sekou tonight with Blake being banged up? So I don't know if you know, but I'm pretty big on Sekou. I've been big on him since we drafted him, really. But I think it's always with just Dwayne Casey's play style and the way, like, the opportunities you have to go out there and seize your moment so hard and have an excellent game to like within this system. So he always has a chance to go off. So it's 50-50, guys. He could he could go off for 30 points tonight. He could go off for 5. So, but that's what kind of player he is. He's on the verge of being a player who's going to be extremely consistent. He's just not there yet, but he still has flashes. So sometimes he's going to score 30 on these people, but sometimes he's going to score 5, and that's just how it is right now. But he's an excellent player, and he will get better. And he's developing, and he's only 20. So we got high hopes, people.
Who did you guys? I just curious. Who did you guys trade to obtain Sviatoslav again? I'm trying to. Was it KCP or?
No, that was that. You're talking Svi Mykhailiuk?
Yeah.
I think it was Reggie Bullock. I think we traded Reggie Bullock to the Lakers for maybe a pick and Svi.
Yeah, and I'm looking at I'm just looking at the Pistons roster right now, and You guys brought in Josh Jackson this season, who definitely, I think, despite all the controversy, because while he was with the Suns, there was a lot of controversy about Josh Jackson, his shooting, and just like his troubles and plagues. But
Right.
looking
I
at
would
him,
like to hear your perspective of that coming from a Suns fan, because I know a lot of Pistons fans weren't like, we knew who the guy was, but we weren't 100% sure who he was. We knew he came in like the Luke Kennard draft because that's who we drafted then. So yeah, I want to hear your perspective on what kind of player this guy is.
this guy, coming into the draft, we drafted him fourth, and who went right after him, and a lot of Suns fans regret, picking him up. De'Aaron Fox went fifth, and Josh Jackson went fourth, which sucks for us because Lord knows, Phoenix wasted like 3 really good draft picks in like 2 consecutive back-to-back years, so it was fucking like it was a terrible stretch. So, looking at Josh Jackson, he wasn't a proven shooter, but he's a really proven, defensive player, and then just with us fluctuating with guards and bringing in a lot of guards, I think like the next year we brought in Bridges, and I'm trying to think who else we brought in. Cam Johnson the season after. Kelly, I think, came as well. It's just he didn't fit the mold for us, and obviously like in a league now that's so deep with people wanting 3-and-D shooters, perimeter defenders, he just didn't fit the mold. But
Right.
it's a low risk, high reward pickup for any team that gets him, because you're guaranteed a pretty solid defensive piece.
Right. No, I totally agree. He's actually, from a. Sorry, my mic's
Yeah, he's
acting
from
kind of
Detroit.
funny
Yeah.
here.
If
One
I'm not
second. Just let me
mistaken, he's from
unplug.
Michigan. Wait, I can't hear you. I think you might be muted. Okay, there, I can hear you.
Okay, you can hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Sorry about that.
No, you're good.
Yeah, my mic's acting kind of funny. I don't know what's going on. Oh my gosh. Okay, there we go. Anyways, sorry about that. From a Pistons standpoint, I think Pistons fans are a little bit, surprised by this guy because, yeah, from what I'm reading from Pistons fans, and I like to kind of, like I said, stay up on social media to see what the fan base is kind of thinking too. I think I often see, start Josh Jackson over DeLon Wright. Start Josh Jackson over DeLon Wright. Why isn't DeLon Wright? Why is DeLon Wright starting over Josh Jackson? And so it kind of shows you like people are kind of excited about this guy here, and like you said, he has a real just natural defensive upside. He's always going to be on the defensive end. It's just natural for him, and for him to finally be kind of developing a shot. Like he's come here and he's hit threes already. Like when he's in the game, he hits threes. So we lost a couple 3-point shooters in this last free agency. One in particular, and I think he was kind of like a unheralded guy here, but Langston Galloway.
Oh
And
yeah,
I
that
thought,
came to us.
yeah, so
It's
it's funny because he's on your guys' team now, and
so good.
you're right. And I literally, that was a Dwayne Casey staple. Like the chemistry between Dwayne Casey and Langston was excellent. Literally, tell me Langston can't just pop literally out of nowhere and drain a three like every time you need it. Like every time you're like,
He is
oh man, we
literally a
really need a
shooter.
three. Yeah, he's a great shooter. And when he was on the Pistons, I know Pistons fans know this. Like every time we seemingly need a three, it was like, oh, Langston literally shot a three quicker than you could ever like see someone shoot a three and it went in somehow. I don't even know how. You know what I mean? Like it's crazy. Like
Langston's
but
just
yeah, that was a pick,
a really good perimeter shooter.
right? That's what he is too. And I think all players, once you become multifaceted, you become a star. You know what I mean? Like once your skills start to develop past, that one dimension. And Langston has an opportunity because he is such a good perimeter shooter. If he can get it together on the defensive end, maybe the passing, facilitating end, you know what I mean? Maybe it's just something. I don't know if he necessarily has a chance to be a star, but he has a chance to be such an excellent role player over there.
I mean, you took the words out of my mouth, because you're looking at a lot of teams that need off the bench shooting. Langston Galloway is an excellent contributor, and I mean that's a huge loss for Detroit, because you're looking at you're looking at the Detroit Pistons, who already I feel like struggle a little bit in terms of shooting, and you're looking at Luke Kennard, if I'm not mistaken, is he still there, or did he?
No, we traded him to the Clippers for to draft Sadiq Bey.
Oh yeah. No, it's like even Luke Kennard, who was renowned for his shooting to an extent. They even traded him, and I think that it's mainly it comes from the top head. It could even come from like the top like the GM, because you're looking at like the Suns. The Suns were shit with Ryan McDonough. Like there's no question about that. Like Ryan McDonough like put our team back for centuries. We bring in James Jones, and within 2 seasons, people are talking about us potentially making the playoffs. It's minor adjustments like that, and knowing what the team needs, and what Detroit desperately needs right now is shooting. Because you're looking at Derrick Rose. I mean, 31 years old, or 32 even. I mean, like Blake Griffin is 31. Killian Hayes coming in.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of people were talking about. Killian Hayes is probably going to be one of the sleepers of the draft. Him. I think personally he has more upside than or not proven upside, but like I think his game, him coming into the league, he was probably one of the better players if you're drafting based on right there, right now, skill set.
Right. Yeah.
But
Totally
like
agree.
in terms of potential, like the sky is a ceiling for a lot of these top 10 picks, and in a predominantly quote unquote weak draft class. Looking at Jeremy Grant, he's another key staple for your team, and he's so he's young, so he's still
Right.
young too, and it's just important to like develop the team and play these guys like a lineup of as I'm looking at it, like Killian Hayes, Jeremy Grant at the 3, Sekou Doumbouya at the 2 or the 3, and then bringing in Josh Jackson, Jaleel Okafor, who's been like thrown around the league, which makes no sense because he's still such a good young player,
Right.
and then it's hard to see like you have that much you have a lot more younger players than a lot of other teams, but they're not getting the minutes that they deserve.
Right. No, I totally agree. And, even deeper into the roster, like Isaiah Stewart was drafted with the 16th overall pick. Like normally when you draft somebody 16 overall, he's going to see the court. You know what I mean? Some other teams who, did better in the season, their 16th overall pick, that's their guy. That's just the guy that they drafted. They don't get a higher pick than that. You know what I mean? Some of these other teams that actually did good, like like maybe like a Trailblazers or something like that, or a Utah. That's just where they draft is at these lower numbers, and that becomes their guy. And it sucks kind of as a Pistons fan to like I know it's only 2 games, but like we want to see our guys out there because we got rid of a whole team. So it's not just like some other teams where like 1 or 2 of your draft picks are going to get out there. Like, no, we want to see all of them because this is our team now. Like, we're just young guys. So, like, just let these guys play. You know what I'm saying? So,
I mean,
and
you're looking at, yeah, sorry to cut you off, but
no, go ahead.
you're looking at just the season before, Andre Drummond getting traded to the Cavaliers, and then, getting Brandon Knight, John Henson in a 23rd second round pick. You basically got, close to nothing for Drummond, and, Drummond, who's easily, a top 3 rebounder in the league. It's not even like a debate at that point. It's hard to see because you're looking at the season before you guys drafted Sekou Doumbouya at 15, and even though that's a latter end of the lottery pick, and you're looking and it's like mid first round, it's still like that's your guy. You're like playing it. You're
Yeah.
looking at other teams. You're looking at other players that got drafted. Nickeil Alexander-Walker was playing for the Pelicans. He's doing pretty good. He's getting minutes. Goga Bitadze getting minutes. Matisse Thybulle getting a lot of good minutes. Brandon
Right.
Clark also really good minutes. It's just a trend with these other teams, Nazir Little at 25. These teams tend to play the players fairly, giving them reasonable minutes. But with Detroit, I'm not seeing that happening because, like you mentioned, like Dwayne Casey is just you can't be critical of a mistake at a person who just got into the league is making.
Right. In some of Sekou's sloppiest games, he did good in. There was a game, like people kind of like herald this game he played against the Celtics. I think it was last year where he scored. It was either 30 or close to 30 or something like that. But um, it was a sloppy game too. If you go back and watch it, it was a sloppy game. He's not going to be perfect. Just let him go out there and make mistakes. But that's how you have good games is you fight through the mistakes and you go out and you play hard no matter what. And you mentioned a lot of good names there, like Matisse Thybulle and all these young guys. Matisse Thybulle was drafted way lower than Sekou. So you know what I'm saying? Like he just had an opportunity, win or lose. You're gonna go out there and you're gonna get an opportunity, and that's really what this league is. This league is so much based off just opportunity. If you don't get that opportunity, you don't develop this year, and then you're kind of waiting, and you're kind of always just practicing and working on your game in the off season and stuff like that. But there's no practice like on court practice.
No, yeah, most definitely. Trying to.
let's see here. We got a couple comments in here that I didn't get to. We got a ment. Oh yeah, here I'll start with this one actually. Rose needs to go. I'm sorry, but I don't know. Well, it's 2 games in. I don't know. We gotta keep to mentor these dudes this season. I agree. Easy, you're my dude. Okay. Let's see what else we got here. Easy got another one in there. We'll trade him away at the deadline. Right? We'll probably will. So hopefully we get some good picks out of that or something, But yeah, we had some. I think we hit some pretty good topics here today. I appreciate you coming on, Dapper Media. I really do.
No, yeah, definitely. I think actually we can go into the Hawks game if you want, like key things for the game.
Yeah, heck yeah. Let's get into the Hawks game a little bit. I think that's like the main point of this video. So yeah, let's talk about the Hawks game, the Detroit Pistons and Hawks game. So so I think obviously one of the key points from the Detroit Pistons side is the fact that D Rose and Blake are not playing.
Mm-hmm. So you're definitely gonna want to play those younger guys, and then you're looking at a team with spot up shooters, and I think it's gonna be a big game, for Jahlil Okafor. Because you're looking at, Clint Capella, he's an undersized center, and he's a pretty good center. But I think that in comparison to size discrepancies, he's going to be a really good. That's going to be a really good learning experience for Jahlil if he gets the minutes. I don't think Mason Plumlee should get those minutes over him, but I'm hopeful that the defense for Detroit's going to shine out pretty well because you're talking about a team if they can cap Atlanta at like a significant amount of attempts. It's gonna be really good for in terms of a defensive standing because we're talking about guys like you're mentioning Sekou, his strides in shooting, Josh Jackson's strides in shooting aren't too great, but if you can make up for that on the defensive end, then it's really it's very beneficial in terms of setting a good precedent that if you're lacking on one end, you'll definitely be able to at least make up for it at the other end.
Right, and I totally agree. And hopefully today, I think today is going to be a day we get, and I said it earlier, but I really, truly think we're going to hopefully get really deep in the roster today. And I think one thing I didn't mention was Sekou is actually, he's questionable with right foot soreness. So he is probable for the game, but he is still, questionable to actually go out there. So if he is going to go out there, with Dwayne Casey's history, I assume it to be really short in the minutes on Sekou. So hopefully we see a guy like maybe Isaiah Stewart, hopefully we see more minutes out of him today. I think if he's out there, this would be his, NBA debut. So that would be kind of interesting. This is a really high energy, like high defensive, just floor runner kind of guy. So that's one interesting thing that could happen.
I mean, a lineup of, Killian, Jeremy Grant, Josh Jackson, Isaiah Stewart, and just Jahlil Okafor, that speaks volumes as to, the route that Detroit wants to go so desperately. And having those guys play with, and having people like Rodney McGruder and Wayne Ellington come off the bench and, be spot-up shooters, it's going to speak volumes.
Right. No, I totally agree. I think this is a game, like you said, like guys like Josh Jackson, especially Svi Mikhailuk. Svi Mikhailuk needs to have a good game today. And he's capable, but from the start of the season, he's a guy that even with all the off-season work, because he was kind of involved in a lot of extracurricular activities this off-season. He was working out with I think he was working out with Drew Holiday. He was working out with all these guys, in like kind of the Drew League and stuff like that. So he was doing a lot of extracurricular activity stuff to really hone in his game in this offseason, but he kind of got off to a slow start. And he's still looking good. I'm not going to say he's not looking good, but not as good as I was hoping for him to look, so I think I'm really hoping for him to not look so forced out there tonight. Like Svi Mikhailuk, I feel like because everyone knows he's this great 3-point shooter, and Svi's a shooter. He's a poor man's Klay Thompson. I've heard that comment before, and so I feel like he feels so pressured to shoot the ball the second his hand touches the ball. So he needs to just calm down, let the game come to him, and when he gets those open looks, he's going to put them down. But don't just go forcing as many open looks as you can, because we're already short on shooting, so we don't need people just shooting up shots, So give that easy give that Easy shout out to you real quick. What up, Dap? How you doing?
Yeah. Yeah, what's up, Easy? I mean, me and Easy, we going back and forth sometimes, and it's all love with Easy.
Yeah, he's the man. He's the man. I don't know if you know, he's my cousin, but
Oh yeah, no,
yeah,
I
that's
think he mentioned it. I think in an episode one time.
oh yeah, yeah, that's my boy. That's my boy. But yeah, he put me on, so I gotta give the Easy a shout out. What's up, my man's Easy in the comments? Ooh yeah, Easy Roberts. But yeah, let's get back to this game. Let's talk from the Atlanta point of view.
I mean, from Atlanta's point of view, and I just think it's really important to put it out there. It's like you're talking about a team that from 1 to 3 is extreme in depth. They have so many players from the 1 to the 3. They got at point guard they got Rajon Rondo, Trey Young, and then at shooting guard they've got people like Bogdan Bogdanovic, Danilo Gallinari, Cam Reddish, Kevin Herter, DeAndre Hunter, all flexible. At that position. Not to mention they also have Chris Dunn. I should add that at point guard. But then when you get down to the 4 and the 5, where you want a lot of your players to stand out, it's they're not that important. So or not that important because they have John Collins. Obviously, he's a great player, and they have Bruno. But like in terms of centers, I feel like that's where Detroit is really going to shine out. And I think that in terms of perimeter shooting, that's where Atlanta's going to shine the most.
Right. And obviously with Trey Young out there, it's hard not to kind of shine like that. But so far, from what I can see, Clint Capella Achilles is questionable. Daniel Gallinari. This one says questionable, but I just seen another one where it said he is ruled out. I just seen a update. I think it was pretty recent. He is ruled out of the game. Point guard Chris Dunn is out. I don't really know how to say their draft pick, but Onyeka Okongwu. I think I did decent there, but he's out, and former Piston Tony Snell is also out. So, there's a couple of key ones in there. Clint Capella, Daniel Gallinari. I think Chris Dunn is actually a good young pickup at that point guard spot. He was actually running a couple minutes for them, at least in the preseason. I know he was doing pretty good, but Onyeka, you would like to see that guy get some minutes, but unfortunately he's out.
Chris Dunn, Chris Dunn's out as well. It says Chris Dunn's out indefinitely. Will have ankle scoped just today.
Oh man, that stinks, huh? But yeah, he's a great young player. I was surprised when what was it? The Bulls let go of him. Yeah, the Bulls just let him go.
I think what sucks is just for Chris Dunn, it's got to be shitty because you're going from a Bulls team that already it's not a lot of upside coming out of Chicago right now. As much as it sucks to see, the Windy City is not seeing as many, prospects going into it as it was a couple years back. And you're looking at, a Hawks team, Chris Dunn going to the Hawks. The Hawks very stacked, a very big depth in his positions as well. So even there, it's difficult. So I feel like Chris Dunn to even Detroit per se would have been a pretty good move, or not. A team I'm trying to think a team that's lacking at the point guard spot, because at best he's gonna be like a backup. I feel like he'll be like a pretty good backup point guard, like a 6-man coming off the bench, because it's just a lot of teams in the league right now already have a defined point guard set.
Yeah, I think if Chris Dunn is your worst point guard, you're in a pretty good position, and that's why he'll stay in the league, is because he is a great backup point guard, and he has potential to be even better than he is. He has that NBA build. That's what got him here. And if he continues to work hard, like I said, if Chris Dunn is the worst point guard on your team, you're in a good position. So and a lot of teams think like that. You know what I'm saying? So these point guards that take up time and just come off the bench and stuff, they're important. I mean, look at D Rose. He's our 6-man, and he's a pretty good point guard. You know what I'm saying? So it just goes to show there's always going to be room for guards in this league, and especially if you work hard and hone your craft, you can always. It's not always, but if you're a good young guard, you can seemingly make it back on the court.
Yeah, most definitely. And I think that even with 5 players out, 2 of them pretty key players, Gallinari and Capella, this is a really good position for Detroit to really just experiment and put some players in, work with some rotations. I think if preseason wasn't already enough to say, rotations are key and integral into just experimenting with them, seeing what players mesh well and bode well with other players, and that's gonna be significant in and of itself. So if they can't even do that with a Hawks team that's fairly injured, it's just gonna be shitty.
Right. No, I totally agree. And something with the Detroit Pistons, it's like they just every game. It doesn't even matter if like we're facing like it's like it doesn't matter if we're facing a good team or a bad team. We turn it into a game where we have to fight super hard to come back, and like it always is close. Like that's just the kind of basketball we play. I don't know why, but it's always close. So it's like we write our own narrative here. So if we win games, we're a really tough team. But if we play the exact same way, but we don't win games, we're like we have to tank. You know what I'm saying? Like it's crazy how like quick the narrative shit. I know most teams are like that, but it's really here with these Detroit Pistons fans too. But
It's about remaining optimistic because you're looking at, a lot of teams. It's the 3 games into the season, dude. Like,
right.
You can't really scrutinize a team, especially a team like Detroit, which, it's had its ups and downs for sure. Even with Phoenix, like Phoenix had a season, 2 seasons, 3 seasons back where we went 0-3 at the beginning of the season. We sacked our coach and we basically like Earl Watson was gone. So trust Dwayne Casey because just a couple years back, everyone was saying he's one of the best coaches. He came to Detroit, he won that revenge game against Toronto. Everyone was saying, this guy is the future for Detroit. And now, quickly the narrative changes on him. People are saying Dwayne Casey, he's not giving our young guys the attention he deserves. I think it's that patient. You just need to have patience.
Well, and I think I totally agree. I'm with you, Dapper Media, but people are just coming from the standpoint of like. There, like we had time invested as fans like in these other players, and like I'm not sitting here. I'm just speaking for the fans who do feel like this, but like it kind of sucks to see like almost a whole team get ripped apart, and then you're still just using your veterans that are kind of left over. Like we want to see these young guys, and we want to learn who these guys are. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's just more eagerness than like get like. F this guy, blah blah blah. But although they are saying that, like I think it has a lot to do with eagerness. Like everyone just wants to see these guys on the court, and I get it, and I totally understand it. But just like you said, Dapper, we gotta be patient.
I mean, patience is key because you're talking about a team. Everyone's so eager to see who the next franchise player is going to be. Everyone's, like jersey sales. For example, like. There's a lot of narratives that, people are like in the front offices. They're like, okay, push this player out. Like, for example, Killian Hayes. He's going to be a staple player for you guys in the next couple of years. If, everything's set and right, if he gets the minutes, he's going to stand out, and eventually it's going to become like a Donovan Mitchell-esque situation where Donovan Mitchell was picked relatively late in the draft. He came out, started getting a couple minutes, then really made a name for himself, and now Donovan Mitchell is one of the best players in the league. No questions asked.
I love that comparison. That was a great comparison, Zapper, because you're right. I literally remember when like Luke Kennard was drafted and when Donovan Mitchell was drafted right after him, and like the feeling was very similar. Like people were like, I don't know how good he's gonna be, blah blah blah. You know what I mean? He could be great, he blah blah blah, but he probably won't be. I remember like when he didn't have a good game, he's a bust. When he's great, he's the best ever. You know what I mean? So if you fall into narratives with NBAs, especially with like the fan narratives and stuff like that, like this guy's a bust, that guy's a bust, like you're just not a true basketball fan. Like you don't understand basketball because it's a game by game thing. Like every game it's almost going to be different every single game. You have an opportunity every single game. So just buzz out all the noise and just, have tunnel vision towards the next game and just focus on the next game because there's still 70 more games, guys. There's 70 more opportunities to have a great, to develop yourself and become greater for the future, and I don't think as Detroit Piston fans we expect much here. So why get so low when we're low, because if we don't expect anything, let's just, if we win, awesome. If we don't, we're developing young players and we're looking towards the future. That's all we can do.
I don't think it hurts. Exactly. You mentioned, it doesn't hurt. And, with especially like NBA Twitter, a lot of people, they're tend to, get riled up and like act up and start speaking negative. Like the Clippers. The Clippers had the franchise worst loss in NBA history. And although the Clippers are on a fucking bit of a rough patch, losing 3-1 in the NBA playoffs, or blowing a 3-1 lead in NBA playoffs, and then eventually, coming in, having the franchise worst loss, they're still working things out, and they're a playoff team in most people's eyes. Like, I know
Right.
people at the beginning of the season, they're saying Clippers are going to be a top 3 team in the league, and I'm looking at the Clippers. I'm like, yeah, they're a really good team, but every team is bound to have those adjustments that need to be made, because with them, it was a whole, culture shift, with everything quote unquote revolving around Kawhi. Now they have to kind of fix the team up and basically make it so that it's not Kawhi. But also, you should be really happy if you're a Detroit fan, because this is a team that's not committing to anyone just yet. You're not committing to a specific player. We saw what happened with LA, that when they committed to Kawhi, and like now they have no rotational players. Their bench is really lacking in depth, and a lot injury. If an injury happens to like a Paul George or like a Kawhi Leonard, their season's over. They're not making the playoff. They're not making the top end of the playoffs. If best, they'll make the bottom end.
Right. No, I totally agree. I totally agree. We got someone commenting. Was that easy? Clippers going to be a top team.
Debatable.
It is debatable now after that, after that 50-point loss. But I literally just now said a second ago that, basketball is a game-to-game type sport. That's just what it is. It's game-to-game. Every time you have another opportunity to watch film, assess yourself, and play harder, so you just truly never know. But I totally agree. And what you were saying earlier, where Detroit, how you said the Clippers really locked in on Kawhi, and now he's their guy, and it like ruins the bench. And Detroit is like almost like begging for that guy right now. Like, even when in our past game, I think it was like the announcers, George Blaha, and them were even talking about like Detroit is looking for that one guy who can, just really get them a bucket when they need it and really run the team and blah blah blah, all this stuff, So like, I don't know if we're necessarily like, from a team and coach standpoint, I don't know if we are truly doing that. I think, like you said, we want it to be more spread out, but it's just not working that way. So then we instantly go to like, why don't we have a Kawhi on our team, or why don't we have a Paul George on our team, or James Harden, or LeBron James? You know what I'm saying? But it's because we have all these young guys, and we want to get them going. In Detroit, you have an opportunity. Any of you players in Detroit, any of them, Sekou, Killian, Sadiq, Isaiah, all of you new young guys, you have an opportunity to be a star in our league right now, because we don't have that one guy who we depend on. Jeremy Grant, all these guys, you have an opportunity to be a star right now, because like you said, Dapper, we don't have that one guy that we look to. So become that guy. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's opportunity right now to become that guy. Like, Detroit's searching for that guy. So, like, that's really my only standpoint on it. Like, I'm not out here like looking to make a trade for another guy. Like, I want to see one of our guys, homebred, become a star. That's what I want. And that's what as Detroit fans we should want.
Yeah, it's just a matter of showing out, and I think that it's like you've really gotta want it as a player. You can't look at the narrative that people are saying. Like, you can't look at people making that comparison immediately to like a bottom tier team, or saying that you guys should tank. And if you want, we can actually. I think that Blake's supposed to be that guy. Like, I don't think that Blake Griffin, especially at this age, is going to be someone who's going to dictate the pace or the culture of a team. Yeah, he's a really good guy. He's a really good player. There's no denying Blake Griffin's a great player, but
right.
in terms of a culture, setting a culture, he's not that guy. Like, look at Kelly Oubre. That's a really good example, I'd say. Kelly Oubre came into Phoenix and left. He created a culture and basically left.
Right.
And Phoenix just went with it. And basically, it wasn't even a set player. Yeah, Devin Booker's our superstar, but it's just that in-team culture. Like, he made the Valley Boys thing what it is today. And then you're looking at Detroit. Detroit doesn't really have that.
Right. Detroit is like on the back end of what you guys are starting now, but it just didn't work. It didn't work out though. It's like we're on the back end of like doing what you guys are doing now, but then say like that just didn't work out. Like, you guys just didn't end up having like a good season. Maybe got like an A seed and then got swept like we did, and then you're on the back end of it. Well, because we, like you said, like our culture is now a veteran in Blake Griffin. That's just our culture. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's just who we have here. And like you guys traded your whole culture, like you said, in Kelly Oubre. He was one of those culture pieces for a veteran guy in Chris Paul. who's not going to be there for he's not going to be there for 10 years. You can't you're not going to that's just not going to
Yeah.
happen. You know what I'm saying? So like you guys are switched to that win now mode. You know what I mean? You did so good in the bubble that you've switched now to
I
the
think
to
that
the
I think this is a controversial take. I think that Phoenix will at least contend for 5 to 6 years, and here's why. Because you're talking about, especially with Detroit. I think Detroit is where Phoenix was in their early rebuild stages, where they have an established position. They have a lot of players that established, like Phoenix. With Phoenix, it was a small forward position. We had
Mhm.
a ton of small forwards on our teams. Um, we had a ton of centers and power forwards come in and out of the team. But until Booker came in, the only defined position was Booker. Right now with Detroit, they have a lot of small forwards in their team. They have a defined, center to build off of in Jahlil Okafor, and Killian Hayes is their defined, point guard. So they're in that early rebuild stage. It's just about who do you want to commit to? Like, do you want us to commit to Svi? Do you want to commit to Jeremy Grant? Who do you wish to really have take that spotlight and dictate that position for you guys?
Right? And as of right now, I do think we are kind of leaning more towards Jeremy Grant, and I want to see a guy like Sekou step up and kind of follow in his path. Because I think Jeremy Grant and Sekou have similar builds and could have similar play styles. But I would like to see Sekou and Jeremy Grant on the floor at the same time, and I know that would probably involve a lot less Blake. But there's just so many like variables that go into all of this. But like you said, uh, I forgot what I was gonna say there, but like it had something to do with like you said, like
Was it the
like when
rebuild?
yeah, the rebuild. I was gonna say because like we're in that rebuild mode. We're at the very start of that rebuild mode, so it's in a weird sense like it's like a catch-22. Like I want to see Blake out there and I want us to win, so you want Blake out there kind of, but at the same time it's just like where is the season gonna go? Like in hindsight, like are we gonna win a bunch of games with Blake this season and D Rose? You know what I'm saying? Like because if not, like just play those young guys and let's get this rebuild going. You know what I mean?
Definitely, that stability is going to be quintessential because already with the delayed, cut short season, 72 games, there's no better time than now to really, figure out that mold and figure out what players fit best with each other. Because, who knows where after the season goes? Are we going to go back to the 82 game season, or are we going to think? Because right now with the short season, you're at very limited time. So do you have to like kind of figure out and decide for yourself now? Do you want to make that a hopeful playoff push? Or do you really want to, go from that playoff push ideology and establish and clearly set into the rebuild? And I think the first thing with that would be either trading Blake and committing to that smaller, um, that smaller market team and becoming that smaller market team by, being a team that is known for bringing young players in, or do you still want to be a playoff hopeful for another season and risk not being able to get another prospect or establishing, your future prospect lineup?
And that alone right there, that's called identity. Like defining what your season is going to be and what you're going to do, blah, 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 what kind of team you are. That's identity. And the Pistons are at like this weird middle ground where they want to do both. They want to kind of compete for a playoff thing while developing young guys, and that's not really an identity. That's just like a half-ass middle ground, and it's a hard goal to reach. Like how like you're like trying to reach this like weird like intermediate goal of like, okay, well we want to develop our young guys, but only so much because we got to play our veterans. Like Easy said here in the comments, because Casey's gonna play his vets because he needs wins to keep his job. So it's like this weird like we want to develop the guys, but Dwayne Casey kind of need to keep his job, blah blah. You know what I mean? Like it's just like it's like there's no clear path that we're taking right now. It's just like we're kind of just like going with the flow. It seems. You know what I mean? Like
Oh yeah, definitely. It's like, and that's something you can't do. I feel like obviously, like it's like, oh, Dwayne Casey needs to play the vets because he needs the job to win, as easy as saying. But is it like
Right.
If you make it clear that, you know, if we stay in this middle ground, not much progress is going to be made. You know, getting that identity is going to be quintessential. You're not going to trade now. You're not going to trade to win now. You don't have the assets. You don't have the bench, and you don't have, you know, the developed players in order to make a playoff push and win. At best, Detroit, if they're lucky and if they really start getting their group together, they can make a push for that late playoff seed, that seventh or eighth seed. But other than that, I don't see them thing. Whereas you could either choose to rebuild now and build your assets up, and within 2 to 3 seasons be a reasonable contender in the playoffs.
No, I totally agree. And that's, as Pistons fans, like, that's all we want is just hope for the future, because, like, I mean, like, obviously I'm a diehard Pistons fan. So no matter what, I'm going to watch the games. I'm going to be excited in the off season, but just in general, there is a general rebuild feeling towards this year, and it's more it's more than 50-50. It's more like a 70-30 type feeling that it's kind of heading towards a rebuild. And I don't necessarily mean a full rebuild, because we're already well over halfway there. We got rid of 12 players. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's on a 15-man roster. So, like, the rebuild's almost there. It really is just the key players. Like, who's going to be our key players in this next regimen? Is it going to be Killian Hayes, Sekou, Jeremy Grant? You know what I'm saying? Like, is it going to be these guys? And who are we going to get for Blake if we're going to move on for them? And who are we going to get for D Rose if we're going to move on from him? You know what I'm saying? So, and that's really what it comes down to. If we're not winning this year, what does the future look like?
To add to that, because that's a really good point that you just made. You know, if we're already halfway there, what are the moves necessary to make? And, looking at, for example, myself, I'm a Suns fan. Like, you're a diehard Pistons fan. The question begs, if you're gonna watch the games regardless, but do you want to watch a game where there's no clear-cut direction, there's no hope,
Right.
there's no optimism, or would you rather watch a game that's relatively close, like Phoenix has been playing the past couple of seasons, and be entertained by the game, be happy with the direction your team is going, and see the adjustments that are going to need to be made for next season, then
Right.
next season come back and contend? Because right now with Detroit, that you already have half the players you would need for a rebuild. It's just, do you want to keep leading on this hopeless kind of no clear-cut direction identity, or do you want to have a team that's, they know what's going on, they have an idea of what to do in practice, of what to do in game, and they come in, they're doing what they need to do every game. There's flashes of the future in the game. There's flashes of what the team's potential is going to be for the future. And even though they lose, you're still going into it optimistic as a fan, and you know that you're going to be contending in a couple of years.
Right. And yeah, no, I totally agree. And I'm just waiting for the Detroit Pistons to kind of have a moment like you guys had in the bubble, where you can just tell the team is finally, like, heading in the right direction. Because whether you guys didn't make it to the playoffs, but you were still one of the most talked about teams. You were like one of this team that everyone was like, wow, they went undefeated in the bubble. They're looking great. D Book's about to be a monster. DeAndre Ayton's going to come back better than ever. Like, this is going to be a great team. And with the addition of Chris Paul in the offseason, like, this should only get better and better. And like you said, we're only 3 games in. So I think your record doesn't speak for you guys, but I think 20 games for now, it probably will. You know what I'm saying? Like, you'll probably be somewhere closer to like 15-5 or something. At least somewhere along those lines. You know what I'm saying? Where it's maybe freaking 14-6. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. So
it's really hard to say.
Right, but that's what you guys are hoping for. It's just like okay, it's 2 games. Like, basketball is a back and forth sport. We'll come back, we'll get our shit together, and we'll come out here and play these games hard, and we'll get back to what the kind of team we know we are. Because it's kind of proven, like you said, like, would Kelly Oubre had been the thing that made you guys win those 2 games? No, he wouldn't have, because he's not even playing great where he's playing. You know what I mean? But like you guys are gonna get it together, and that's all that matters. So.
Yeah, most definitely. And just to kind of cap off this idea, or just this part of the conversation, it's like, look at the Pistons. All it takes is a good stretch, like you mentioned, and people are going to be interested in coming and playing. That's what happened with Phoenix. The reason we were able to land Jay Crowder is because of what we had accomplished in the bubble, I feel like, because, all it took was that one good stretch to prove we have potential, to prove that there's a lot of upside in coming to play for Phoenix. And it's not just a hopeless place where you're not going to be getting a lot of minutes and you're not going to be winning basketball games. But CP3 came as a result of, seeing D Book has proven he can do it. And then Jay Crowder came as a result of CP3. So it's just all it takes is that one good moment, and you're in business.
Yep. And we're gonna get to the predictions for the score of the game and player of the game. Easy's yelling at me in here in the comments, so that's what we're gonna get to next. But yeah, let's go ahead and do that. I'm gonna throw his comment up right here now. We'll do that for you, Easy. Easy's still here in spirit, guys. Speakeasy Sports Talk. So let's give Easy Roberts a little shout out here. Predictions for the score of the game and player of the game for each team. So if I have to be honest, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna drink the juice here. I'm gonna drink the Pistons Kool-Aid here, and I'm gonna take us winning the game. Okay, but it's gonna be a really close game. I'm gonna predict something like it's gonna be something like 107 to 110. I'm gonna predict 107 to 110. Pistons winning it. Really hard fought game. And Jeremy Grant, player of the game for the Pistons. You can go ahead. You want to do the Hawks?
Yeah. As for the Pistons, I agree. Jeremy Grant's really gonna have a good showing because Gallinari's out, so there's not really anyone to pick him up. But I think that for the Hawks, let's see.
You were yelling, Easy. We know it.
Sorry. For the Hawks, I think that the player that's really going to stand out is going to be Trae Young. I think the Trae Young player of the game for the Hawks, or even possibly Bogdan Bogdanovic if he's playing.
Right.
Yeah, I think that those two will really, they can push the pace for the team. They'll be putting points up, and unless Detroit can defensively be able to push them off, I could see either 120, like 100, 121 or 102, something like Atlanta, or a really close, tight-knit game like 110, 109 Detroit, something
right. No, I totally agree. My common sense is telling me, go with Atlanta Hawks here. Go with Trae Young. He's about to literally go off on us, but I had to sip the juice and go with my Pistons. So hopefully, at the end of this, I have a great take and I'm like, yeah, I was exactly right. But we never know. I'm not gonna be too butthurt if that's not how it goes. But
hopefully the team does good, dude.
Right. No, I totally agree, man. I want something to be happy about after this game. I know Pistons fans are itching for a win, so hopefully we get a win tonight, man. We're looking like we're getting pretty close to the game here, so we'll probably sign off. We've been on for about an hour and 10 minutes, so it was great having you on, Dapper Media. I appreciate you coming on the show.
No, definitely.
Hey, that was great talking basketball with you. We gotta talk some other sports or talk some more basketball definitely soon here.
I'm down. I think we're gonna actually be beginning our inaugural episode pretty soon for Fellas and Gents basketball, and because we got a podcast of our own, and I think we've had Easy on it a couple of times. And
okay, yeah, shout it out, man. Shout it out.
Definitely. If you guys are just avid sports fan, or if you guys also like the Phoenix Suns, definitely subscribe to our channel, as we're going to be doing Suns breakdowns on there pretty soon. And I know there's a guy on YouTube called Suns Geek, great YouTube channel. He's also a really good YouTuber. We're definitely going to be doing Suns. We're going to be doing Suns podcasts. I'm gonna speak about the Suns. Be doing pre-games, post-games, post-fight cards, pre-fight cards, a lot of that stuff, because we are also MMA. And yeah, hopefully we'll have A-Rogey on the podcast fairly soon. We'll definitely chat some Detroit sports and Phoenix Suns basketball, and hopefully we'll get some good things going for the fans over here.
Heck yeah, man. That's awesome. Yeah, I'll anytime you need me on your sorry, I'm reading comments as I'm talking to you, but yeah, anytime you want to talk, man, I'm down to come on the channel. That sounds like awesome. I love MMA too, so I love talking MMA. I love talking just all sports in general, so anytime you want to just chat it up with your boy A-Rogey here on the Speakeasy Sports Talk, just chat it up with us. So yeah, I think I think we're gonna be going live for the post game too, guys. So make sure you stay tuned for the post game. We're gonna be doing the DSA Detroit Sports Association, I believe, and we're gonna have a couple guys on there talking. So stay tuned for after the game. Like I said, Dapper Media, I appreciate you coming out. I appreciate you so much for coming out. Yeah, you gonna be watching these games tonight?
Oh yeah, most definitely. I think I'm probably gonna have actually. I wasn't planning on it, but probably will watch the Hawks game because I do got Trae Young on my fantasy team.
There you go.
So I'll check that out. Hopefully
just know A-Rogey will literally be screaming every single time we start losing. So just keep me in mind, keep me in heart. Pray for me, pray for the Detroit fans, and let's get this win, boys. Let's get this win.
No, yeah, definitely. I gotta trade for Drummond on the fantasy team.
No, you know what? I really hope this is how hope it goes for you. I hope Trae Young scores like 60, but the Detroit Pistons still win. How about that?
No, that's pretty good. That's a pretty good set. All right,
perfect,
man.
Bro.
Awesome.
All right, the game's about to start in a minute here, so I'm gonna sign off. But it was great having you, bro. You have a great night.
You too, bro.
All right.